I think it is fair to say that what we've seen over the last year, and this mirrors some of the other areas that we've discussed, is Snowden has essentially exacerbated existing or possibly even latent trends that have were pre-existing but have been brought more closely to the surface and have been seriously complicated from a United States perspective by the leaks and the reaction to them. So the internet, of course, is a hugely complex system of systems that is already governed in a number of extremely complicated ways, and that governance has always involved government in it, but there are different philosophical and practical views about how that sort of government involvement should relate to the private sector and the civil society. And essentially, you can put governments into three buckets, if you like. It's a group of authoritarian countries who really want to exercise more control, largely because they fear what the internet can, what trouble the internet, or what trouble can come to them through the internet. Then you have the liberal democracies, including the United States, who have, as well as a sort of philosophical, a pragmatic view that most of the functions of running the internet should be left to the private sector. And then you have a third group of swing states who are not quite sure where they sit between those. And you might think of sort of Brazil and India in that bucket. They're attracted to sort of private sector models, but at the same time, the idea that the United States exercises too much control makes them a bit nervous about fully accepting this. And as Jim Lewis said in the last panel, in recent years, there has been concern that what exists at the moment doesn't really work. A sort of multi-stakeholder model that everybody has a say and it's done by consensus, which kind of works if you're developing code, but can that work on something that's so fundamental to the way in which governments work? And I think what Snowden has done has emboldened the first group of authoritarian states to believe that they can push back against the United States position for a more multi-stakeholder, more private sector, more civil society involved role. It has made the swing states, the Brazils, possibly not so much the Indias, but other swing states, less inclined to caucus with the United States and others. And possibly most importantly, it is undermined the ability of the United States to work with its natural allies, particularly in Europe, to organize itself against these roles. Now, against these other positions that I've just described. And I think that in some ways is the most worrying trend going forward,